Megan and I met in Colorado, actually at a Young Life camp.
We've been married for 16 years. We have a daughter who is 12 and a son that is 10. They are both biologically ours. And then we have an 8-year-old boy and a 7-year-old boy who are biological siblings, and we adopted them.
We found the need in our community to find other families who were going through this, because there were things that we were going through as a family that we didn't necessarily know how to deal with friends that only had biological children, because there's other issues that come into play when you adopt children from CPS or anywhere. The story's completely different than when they're born to you biologically.
We were ignorant.
Yeah.
We didn't know anything. We probably thought about things, a lot of them, the wrong way, thinking that we were not necessarily saving, but we were better. We were giving these kids a good home, and just didn't realize the trauma that was going to come with the kids. We were really unprepared. Once they were adopted, I think it just kind of intensified, because we didn't have necessarily the outside help of the agency. And so we still had the same issues, but with less help and less people around us. Thankfully, God did not tell us or show us how hard it would be, because I think if we would have known that, we wouldn't have done it.
I think we always knew that we were going to open our home back up, but it was way farther down the road.
I don't think you thought we were big. You said we were done.
I did say that we were done, but I think in the back of my mind, like, we had talked about having a teenager come into our house at some point, like when our kids were teenagers or even off into college. So it was, in my mind, it was way farther down the road, 10, 15 years down the road, before we were going to open our house back up. It wasn't within 5 years like it ended up happening.
We reached out to Chosen once our 2 girls moved into our house.
Chosen has a lot of resources that are available to them, especially with helping kids coming from hard places or kids that are coming from trauma. And so that was something that they could definitely help us out with.
It's different because when you have a baby, which was what we did the first round with 2 babies, you can cuddle and you can hold and rock, and you can't really do that with a 17-year-old. So just trying to find creative ways to find that attachment and that bond. It was really hard for me to see a 17-year-old parent. Just the struggles. I mean, we've all been first-time parents before, and we all know how hard it is. And then she has done it nearly 2 years by herself. Chosen helped us understand that attachment is what helps heal her trauma. So we had to learn how to attach and bond with her so that we would be able to help her heal from her trauma. I've
been able to learn how I can attach and actually have a better relationship with not just our foster kids, but with all my kids as well. There's calls I can call up, and I can talk to somebody and they can help me out during a situation I may not be able to deal with, not necessarily not deal with, but that I haven't been through before, and someone else has walked through that, and to do it the correct way when I'm dealing with someone who's been through trauma as well. Where she came from is completely different from where we came from, and so in the actions and how we're talking to her and how we're actually raising her is from a completely different lens than where she actually grew up from. And so for us to remember that is something I think it's really helpful on our end, is to remember her culture and where she came from. And she'd had done life for 17 years in a completely different environment than what she's in now. So Chosen kind of helped us realize that and helped us look, you need to look at these things because these are things that are affecting your relationship.
To me, the most helpful thing that Chosen provided were just a a number. It was a number that I could call at all times and have someone that would answer any question I had, give me basically step-by-steps of how to handle a situation, or if I had a question, if I had said something wrong or right, how to mend the relationship. Just to have a person as a resource to know that I was going to get trauma-informed care answers from, that it was going to be valuable information, and at any time they would be able to help me out. I recommend Chosen nearly every single time I talk to someone that asks me a question about foster or adoption, because they have so much information and so many resources that you can ask them any question, and even if they don't have the answer right then, they find the answer for you. So I've asked questions about parenting classes, I've asked questions about play therapy, I've asked questions about psychiatrists, I've asked questions about parenting a teenager, what happens when they don't come home with their curfew, how do you, I mean, literally anything, and they've always been able to help me and find the answer. There's no way we could have done this without Chosen.